This cable bonnet comes in all sizes, from newborn to adult, but they all use different size needles and yarn to make it. So go to the link underneath my video and it will take you to the pattern, which will tell you what size needles and yarn you need for whichever size hat you're needing to make. To make this cable bonnet, you need to make a slip knot. And then we cast on. Okay, so this is how I hold it. If you need more help on how to make the slip knot and cast on, basically how to start your knitting, I have a link underneath the video in the description bar, and it will take you to the video that I made. And it goes slower and it's a lot more informational. Okay, and this is what it'll look like on the wrong side. You can tell that this is the wrong side because of the bumps. And this is the right side. Okay, so for the wrong side, row 1, we knit 2, purl 6, knit 2, purl 6, knit 2, purl 7. And I'm just going to show you the first part since it's basically the same. So we knit 2. Our yarn is in the back. We go in the front to the back with your right hand needle. Bring your yarn around counterclockwise. Go up and off. Now to purl, your yarn is in the front. And we go from the back to the front. Bring your yarn counterclockwise. Bring it up and off. Once you get to the knitting part, you just put your yarn to the back and then go from the front to the back. So this is what it ends up looking like, and then we turn our work over. So now we're going to be doing the row 2, which is on our right side. And I just wanted to show you, you can see which one's your knits and purls. These are your knits, one that have the V stitches, and then here's your purls, the ones that have the horizontal bar. Or I like to call them bumps. So you knit, 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 purl, purl, knit, purl, purl, knit, purl, purl. And all even rows, you're always going to slip this first stitch. And that will give you a nice smooth edge at the front of the beanie. And then you go ahead and knit. So knit where you see the knit stitches and purl the purl stitches. And on your wrong side, your odd rows, you will be starting with the knit stitch and you will not be slipping that knit stitch. It's only on the right side where you slip your first stitch. Okay, so this is how you do the odd and even rows. And now I'm going to show you how to do the cable row. First stitch, you slip. I have a cable needle. You can use anything that will hold your stitches, like a double pointed needle. The double pointed needle would be my first choice because you can just slide your stitches and you don't have to put them back on your left needle. So you slip your first stitch and then you slip your next 3 stitches on your cable holder and you hold the stitches in the front, not the back. And then you can knit them off of your needle or you can put your stitches back on your left needle. And it really depends on what you're using to hold your needles, because sometimes it's really hard to knit off of whatever's holding your stitches. And this is probably the hardest part. It might be a little tight at first, but it will work and look perfect. Knit those 3 stitches. And then you purl 2. And then you repeat this 2 more times. The C6F and the purl 2. Let's do it one more time. Grab your first 3 stitches. Come off of your needle onto the cable holder and you hold them in front. Then you start knitting your next 3 stitches. place the stitches back onto your left needle and knit them. Alright, so now you know how to finish. So then after this, you're going to do rows 7, 8, which is the same thing as rows 1 and 2. And then you repeat rows 1 through 8, 1 through 8, 1 through 8, 6 more times. Okay? You got this. I'll meet you at the end where we bind off. Yay! We did 7 of the cables, right? And then we just did only 5 rows at the very end. We're going to bind off. We're on the right side. And what we do to bind off is we knit 2 and then slide your first stitch off and over your second stitch. Now we need to knit 1, so we have 2 stitches on our right needle, and you bring that one over and off. And we do this all the way to the end of the row. And there's our last stitch. And then you're going to want to pull enough so that we can sew our backside together. And I like to do it 2.5 of the length. After I cut that, then I just pull out the remaining yarn. And there we go. You need to get your tapestry needle. You see how my yarn is already attached to my bottom side. I am going to go through the top. And then we're gonna go back through the bottom, and I'm just going to go through this vertical bar. Okay? And same here. And here's our next one. And then go through this tail. Get out of here. And that's what it'll end up looking like. I like this way. It's seamless. Looks nice. Okay, so keep on doing that. Look how beautiful. Okay, now I'm at the top, and what I'm going to do is tie a knot, and then stick my yarn inside. You're going to need to weave your ends, so let's just turn it inside out. What is really nice is that you have a really good border that you can just weave this through, and no one is going to see it, and it's not going to come out. That's kind of one of my worries every time that I weave my ends. I'm like, oh no, I don't want it to, you know, at some point come out. That's just embarrassing. Yeah, no. Okay, done. Cut that. Now we have to do the bottom border. Now I'm going to be using a crochet hook. This is an eye hook. Look how beautiful. Okay, next step. So this is the top, right? And then I have this facing me on the right side. We're going to go to the outermost stitch. Now with your yarn, we're gonna do the ties or the tassels. So here is my yarn with the loop. You put it around your hook and then you come through like that. You're going to have a tail, have to weave in later. And then this is personal preference on how long you want your tassels to be. So this is how I hold my yarn. Guys, this is easy, I promise. If you haven't crocheted before, don't be afraid. You just bring the yarn over and then you put it through the loop. And then you repeat. Oh, if that happens, it's okay. Just put it through again. I did 30 chains. Now we're gonna go back. So do you see how the braid is facing us? Not this side. The braid is facing us. We're going to skip our first stitch and we're gonna go through the next one and do the exact same thing. We just yarn over and then we're gonna go through that loop. Okay? I'm gonna go through the stitch right next to it. Yarn over, go through, and go through that loop. And then you're just going to keep doing this all the way until you get back to the bonnet. I actually just went into my first stitch loop, so we just need to make sure that that tail stays tight. And then I'm going to go through our first stitch right here, and I'm going to go through both stitches. See how I did that? And then you yarn over, go through, and we're just going to go through. It's just a slip stitch. Okay, we're going to skip one stitch and then we're going to slip stitch. So right now you see me skipping every other stitch and I don't want you to do that. That made it too small. So what you need to do is just go through every stitch and do a slip stitch, or if you want to do single crochet, that would be fine as well. And I want you to only skip one stitch in each cable. So just like skip the center one, okay? There's 6 cables, so you only skip 6 times. All right, so just keep on doing that all the way around. All the way around, and then make another tassel and you're done, because you're done.